In a cozy apartment lived the Nelson family, picture-perfect family of 4. The parents, Claire and Daniel, spend time with their 2 cute children, Matthew and Lily. They were the kind of family you'd look at and think, they must have it all. They prayed together, laughed together, and trusted that life would always be this simple. On a beautiful evening, they gathered for dinner in their cozy dining room table, eating and enjoying the delicious meal cooked by Claire. As they were done eating, Matthew proudly stands up to clear the dishes, grinning as he picks up the plate. Claire smiles, her heart swelling with love for her helpful son. But then, out of nowhere, it happens. As Matthew takes his first step toward the kitchen, his face suddenly goes pale. He staggers, his hands tremble, and before anyone can react, he collapses to the floor, the dishes crashing around him. They all shouted and rushed to him. "What's wrong?" "Daniel, call 911, Claire shouted in panicking. In the span of a heartbeat, everything changed. Their peaceful dinner turned into a nightmare. And Claire's heart, filled with the faith she always thought was unshakable, was now gripped by a fear she couldn't outrun. Matthew was rushed to the hospital. The sterile white walls are suffocating, and the faint hum of medical machines is the only sound. Matthew lies motionless in a hospital bed, while Claire sits by his side, holding his small hand, her eyes puffy from crying. Then the doctor called Daniel and Claire to his office, speaking gently, but concerned. "We've done all the tests we can, but we're not sure what's causing this. We'll keep him under observation." Claire's heart sinks. It was the answer she had feared, no answers. She turns to husband Daniel, her rock, but even he looks lost, broken by the helplessness of the situation. How do you hold on to faith when the storm hits like this? When your child is lying unconscious and the doctors have no answers? Claire had always believed in God, but now she wasn't so sure. She wasn't sure of anything anymore. Night after night, Claire refuses to leave the hospital. She cries and prays. Oh, how she prays. "God, please, please don't take him from me. I can't lose him. Please, heal him." The prayers poured out like water, desperate and pleading, but they felt empty, hollow. Claire was losing her grip on hope, and with it, her belief that God was still listening. But with each day that Matthew doesn't wake up, doubt begins to creep in. Late one night, as Claire sits beside Matthew's bed, her body weary from the weight of her fear, her phone buzzes. It's a text from her best friend, Sarah. She reads it slowly. Philippians 4:6. "Be anxious for nothing, but in everything, by prayer and supplication, with thanksgiving, let your requests be made known to God." Claire's brow furrows. She had read that verse 100 times before, but tonight it felt different. The words "be anxious for nothing" felt impossible. How could she not be anxious? Her son was fighting for his life. But as she rereads the message, the last part stands out with thanksgiving. How do I thank God when everything feels like it's falling apart? It didn't make sense to her at first. Thankfulness in the middle of pain? But as Claire sat there, something inside her shifted. Maybe it wasn't about understanding. Maybe it was about surrendering, trusting that even in this darkest moment, God was still God. Claire kneels quietly beside her son's bed in the hospital, her hands trembling as she folds them together. Her voice, once desperate, is now steady. This time, her prayer is different. Claire prays softly, with surrender. "God, I don't understand this. I don't know why Matthew is sick, and I'm scared. But thank you for his life. Thank you for being with us, even in this storm. I trust you. I trust you with my son." For the first time in days, Claire felt something she hadn't in a long time. Peace. It wasn't the kind of peace that meant everything would suddenly be okay. It was the kind that said, even if it's not, God is still good. Claire sits beside Matthew, reading the scripture to him softly. Then, something unexpected happens. His hand twitches. Claire gasps, leaning in closer, as Matthew's eyelids flutter open for the first time in what feels like forever. Claire, tearful, whispering, "Matthew, can you hear me?" Matthew blinks, his voice faint but unmistakable. Matthew softly said, "Mom." Tears stream down Claire's face as she pulls him close, her heart overflowing with gratitude. Claire goes on her knees and started thanking God. Slowly, day by day, Matthew grew stronger. His doctors were amazed at the progress, but Claire knew it wasn't just medicine that healed him. It was faith. It was surrender. It was thanksgiving in the face of the impossible. Several weeks later, the beautiful family is back home. Matthew and Lily are playing in the backyard, laughing as they chase each other around. Claire watches from the porch, her heart full of gratitude, her faith stronger than it had ever been. They had weathered the storm, and though it had shaken them to their core, they had come out the other side, together, stronger and more thankful than ever before.